Evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Grumpy Old Spurs. Currently 6 people watching, so thanks to my mum, Dave's mum, my auntie, my mother-in-law. Dave, how are you, mate? Let's get straight into it. How's it going?
I'm feeling good. Good evening to Kerry. She's remembered to watch us live. Thank you, and we look forward to you trolling us as you do a little bit during the show. Lovely to see you again. Hello to everyone else as well. I'm feeling healthy. I'm having a strawberry smoothie. It's got protein powder. It's got peanut butter, honey, vanilla yogurt, protein, and that's what I'm doing because it's all part of my regime. Because someone at work this week said that I look a bit like Alec Baldwin.
More like Mike Baldwin, mate.
Mike
Baldwin from Coronation Street.
Do you mean the love triangle between him, Deirdre Barlow, and Ken Barlow? Mike Baldwin.
Yeah, Mike Baldwin, Ken Barlow, they had some tear-ups, didn't they?
They did. Years. That cheeky Cockney, he went up north to Manchester and did that. Now, Gibbo, word on the street that you were the Grumpy Old Spurs representative and correspondent at Tommy Tuchel's first game at Wembley this week. How was that for you?
Crap. I enjoyed the journey up there with my son.
How did you get? Did you drive?
I drove to Hillingdon, got the train in. I enjoyed the journey back with my son. But the game, unfortunately, is just 90 minutes. I will never, ever, ever get back. The only reason we go is to try and get caps to the major tournaments. But oh my goodness!
Just to clarify, no, I haven't shot anybody. But there you go. Thank you, Kerry. So any standout performers from Tommy Tuchel's the new England era under Tommy Tuchel?
I thought Lewis Skelly did all right. Kane did what he does. Bellingham was all right. I mean, I always say this about Bellingham is a good player, but my God,
from the Oxo advert.
No, Jude, come on.
Oh, sorry.
But I do have to say this about Jude Bellingham. If he was a cat, he would lick himself to death, wouldn't he? Great player.
Hang on. This is known as... you'd make a great Aussie. The old tall poppy syndrome. You know what that is?
Go on.
It's kind of when anyone thinks that they're getting too big. The Aussies are with a tall pop. Anyone gets a bit too much success, then they have to knock them. Why have you got? Why is Jude? Why?
Why? No, I genuinely, I think he's a really good player. But I play a watch when I'm watching a game. I'll watch players. I watch how people conduct themselves, and sometimes I just watch him, mate, and he's got the strut. And probably because he is a good player, but sometimes I just watch him. I think he does think he's the big I am. He's a great player.
So you prefer your English sporting icons to be Eddie the Eagle Edwards and Frank Bruno? Is that what
you got it, mate? You got it. I like them just how I like my club heroes, mate.
And speaking of our beloved club, how nice has it been that we didn't play this weekend? Did you enjoy that?
It's been fantastic, hasn't it? Like we were talking before, and I said, not in a nasty way, but some Tottenham groups I'm in, I've muted them because I don't want this. I've got like a break from it. I've got a break from Spurs. I don't want to. Apparently, there was like an interview with Jed Spence.
There was.
I've not seen any of that.
No.
I've just completely blanked them from memory for the past couple of weeks. What have you been up to, Dave? Have you been scouring the internet for news about who's your favourite that you like, Donna Cullen and people like that? Have you found any more dirt on them?
So allegedly, no, not at all. I mean, I've ordered my change. You'll be pleased to know I've ordered my change for Tottenham flag. There is another march coming up the 5th or 6th of April.
Yeah,
and I urge all 8 people watching this to get behind that and attend. Plus the other over hopefully 500 we get to view this on the playback. later on today, and I think we can talk a bit about that more nearer the time. But there is one coming up. I was a bit of a social media butterfly. I'm sorry, I did cheat on you last week, Gibbo. I went on the Irish Hotspur. I'm sorry, mate.
I saw you for a little bit with your other podcasting mistresses.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It wasn't you, Gibbo.
Did you plug the show?
I plugged the living hell out of this show, which explains why we got 10 more views than usual on the playback last week than this week. And it explains why we've got 7 people tonight. So I've done a great job.
And just to wind you up, your mistress started the show at 6 o'clock tonight, hasn't she? Just to rub my nose in it.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's like the Irish Hotspur is Mike Baldwin. You're Ken Barlow, and I'm Deirdre Barlow.
You're Deirdre.
There we go. Yes, there we go. But we've increased our numbers with Coronation Street chat from the 80s.
So come on then, Deirdre. Deirdre, what are we going to get into first tonight?
Well, tonight it's going to be something that we are going to be. Tonight, Matthew. We are going to be talking about whom the next Tottenham manager will be at the start of next season. We're being assumptive, presumptive, and talking about that. There's another YouTube channel live, but who thinks that all us YouTubers are negative. We're not proper supporters. We're not getting behind the team. How do the players feel? Because we're daring to say that things aren't going very well. And what do us YouTubers, keyboard warriors, which he is as well, know? What do we know about football? How are we entitled to do this? And so, as we go through each manager, I want to just put up our managerial credentials. There I am at Wembley, coaching the team in my Liam Gallagher Parker, and there's my fantasy football rating for the season. I am in the top 3 millionth in the world at fantasy football. So you can see there that
you know your onions then, Dave.
I know my Graham onions. Okay. And there you are, Gibbo, just about to come off stage at Glastonbury with your band Elbow. And you got in game week 29 66 points, which actually was more than me, actually, Gibbo. Well done. But your rank for the week in the world was you're inside the top million. So that is, when people ask you to put your medals on the table, you YouTubers, what do you know? You think you've got the God-given right to make a comment? It sounded like on the buses then, didn't it?
It sounded like Blakey.
It sound like, I'll get you. Anyway, so that is what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be looking at the runners and riders. And ladies and gentlemen, all 11 of you, if I can ask, when we go through this, if you do need a pair of prescription glasses and they're to hand, you're going to need them for these slides because I haven't done a very good job. Sorry. So, shall we get a magnifying glass? Shall we begin with the first person that we'll look at, the first record? Because, of course, one of the options.
What's Ange, Dave?
Well, this is one of the options.
I mean, I don't care, but
I know you don't care, but let's look at Ange. So, for all those who do need, I'll do the subtitles on this slide. At Tottenham, he's averaging, let me just look at that, 1.59 points per game at Tottenham. At Celtic, he was at 2.31. That's an amazing achievement.
What was he? Sydney Skittleducks or something, whatever.
Now, there's no need to be rude about Sydney, is there?
What
about the national coach of Australia? The country that I've made my home. He was at 1.59, and of course he won the Asian Cup for the first time. Okay, so there we go. And in Japan, and I won't try and pronounce Yokohama, he was at about 1.66. So there we go. And the hair, we talked about his hair already. It's not that great. So that is the record. So I just think the number to bear in mind tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is 1.59 points per matches at Tottenham at the moment. Okay, Gibbo?
It's turning into like an episode of Sesame Street. The number The
Number
for
1.49 is the most important number.
59.
Sorry,
1.59. Don't do him a
hell.
misjustice.
Okay, 1.5. You want it to be 1.04, don't you? 1.59. Here we go. Right, here's the next one. This is Marco Silva.
Yes.
So, what do you think about Marco Silva, Gibbo?
I like Marco Silva.
Is that because his name is not Ange Postecoglou?
Well, let's get this out in the open before we carry on. When we go through all these coaches in here, at the moment, my head is like in the direction of we just need a better coach than the coach we've got. And
very negative.
And I think all these coaches are better than the guy we've got, especially in the league we're playing in. But anyway, back to Silva. I like Marco Silva. I think he's done a decent job at Fulham. When you look at the players, Traore, Jimenez getting a tune out of, William gets a tune out of him. He's improved Bassi, who plays at the back. And I think he sort of works. He works with what he's got. I mean, people say, I don't think he's that great. I think he's quite overrated. But Sander Berge, when they played against us, if we decide Sander Berge, people would have been knocking him, knocking that as a signing.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, he works with players.
Yes.
He works with players, and he gets the best out of what he's got. So I always say at Spurs, it's no good having these managers who need set players. You need somebody to come in and up coach, make us better than some of our parts. And that's the type of coach that Silva is, in my opinion.
So you think he's a far better coach than Ange, yeah?
I do think he's a better coach, yeah.
So
he'd be a better option for us.
And so what was the Sesame Street magic number for Ange?
1.59.
So Silva is currently at 1.60 points per matches than Ange. So he is a much better coach by 1 decimal point, is what you're telling me.
He's at Fulham for one,
nice, lovely area.
But look, we're doing these points per game things, yeah.
Yes.
This points per game nonsense that you've cooked up.
It was called stats, but go on.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm not a big stats man. I'm sort of like, you've got to have the old eye test as well, and what's going on, like where you are, and sort of like living in the moment. And we're losing. We just lose far too many games, mate.
Right. Okay. So, we do need an eye test at the moment to read these stats.
Yeah.
Everton, he was at 1.38. At the mighty Hertfordshire, just up the road from my mum, 1.12. It's not looking good. Forget his
numbers then, Dave. What do you think of him as a coach, in your opinion? Because, I mean, he's the sort of guy, though, that leaves. He would leave Fulham. He'd leave Spurs if he came to Spurs and there was a bigger club or what he felt was a better option for him to go to. But what do you think about him then? Let's have your opinion.
Okay, well, first of all, we also have to have the hair rating here, and it looks quite good. The hair looks nice, bit of slick. Yeah, looks good. The hair looks good.
Nice trim.
Nice stubble as well. That's all good. So he does well in that regard. What do I think of him? Is that I think if I just take it up one level, and you'll see all these managers tonight that we look at, they're all managers that are ones that will come into a place where they have to improve players on a limited budget, and that's the track record that they have, and develop younger players. And so I bring myself back to the flag that I have ordered to be delivered out here. Have you ever wondered to yourself, why do we always have to get managers in who can work on a limited budget when we fill that stadium with Beyonce and the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Just saying. You bang on right though. You are bang on right, Dave. But that is where we're at. That is what we are at this current moment. That is what we are. So that is what we need, isn't it? I know the bigger picture. We're 6 years into the game-changing stadium, and we're getting managers who know how to make the most out of not very much. Yeah, it's a bit let's get Joe Royal in. Although I think he's passed away.
Because Dave, you are, like I keep saying, you're all right, but that's where we've let it slip to, haven't we?
That
board,
indeed
the board, the manager incumbent.
Yes.
That is what they've allowed. That's where they've taken us.
Yes. Okay. So what do I think of Silva? I think that he has done a good job at Fulham. I think with Fulham, I think they came up and I think pretty much the managers here, well, not apart from Forest. So Forest, Fulham, Brentford came up at the same time. They obviously didn't get relegated. They've been up for 2 to 3 years and they're reaping the rewards of having that Premier League revenue coming in and staying up. Yeah. So they kind of they've got themselves to being established mid-ish table Premier League clubs. We've seen him improve players who obviously come in on a limited budget. I think he's improved some youngsters that's been there as well. And I think that he has adaptable tactics. They've done well at home, I think, is their record this season. Maybe not so great away. They are in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup this week, next weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Against Palace at home, I think. So, he has done well in that regard. But is he better than Ange? Yes, but by 0.1 decimal point.
Right then, yeah.
All right.
On points per game. So on the
points,
eye test, when you watch Fulham play,
yes,
with the players they've got, and say the squad he's been given, and do they play good football?
On the whole, yes.
Yeah. Are they awful defending at times? Are they like literally at times when they're?
I don't think they've had a big spanking this season. No.
So what I'm saying, and when you
I know I understand I know where you're coming from. You're applying it. I understand. You're giving it the Ange lens. I get that. And he also did well in the fact that their best striker went off to Saudi Arabia and they still didn't get relegated in Mitrovic. Whereas our best striker went off to Germany and we got Belize in, which is always good, isn't there? Yeah. So, that's what it is. But just to bear in mind that we do have an expert from Watford in tonight, and that's Craig. If there's a grassy knoll, then us Watford residents are truly tempted, usually to sop in our own foot, true Tottenham style. I think he might be commenting on another channel and he's come... I think he's got a bit confused, but anyway, nice one, Craig. Nice to see you. So, but he is our Watford expert.
Before we move on, we're not saying who we're choosing at the minute. So we're
not.
If Andrew's to go, and Silva comes in, would you be giving the thumbs up or thumbs down, Dave, to that move?
It would be the thumbs not sure, Gibbo. It'd be the thumbs not sure. Okay.
Well, I'm going.
Yeah, well, you're going to do thumbs up to bloody everybody we've got on tonight.
Well, I probably will because I think.
Yeah, you will. Better. You're an anyone but Ange kind of person. You'd get AVB. You'd get AVB back. Oh, hang on. And to the 19 people watching at home, if thumbs up or thumbs down, hang on. It's like what's that Brucey game?
Play your cards.
It's like play your cards right. Higher or lower. All right, good game. All right, hi, we've had Blakey tonight and Brucey and Coronation Street. We're not showing our age, are we? Kerry is not mad for it. Craig, if he doesn't mind posting. Oh, hello.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. ML Bryn. All right, can you... Okay, Gibbo, give ML Bryn his phone back, please. Anyone is better than that clown Ange. Nice dog, that. Is that a collie? I'm not a dog expert.
Who's next then, Dave?
All right, let's go next. Well, I'm just seeing anyone else of our 18 viewers... No, all right. Well, if anyone wants to vote on Silva, just put the name Silva and up or down on it. All right, just helps an old man like me. Right, the next one we've got, and the hair. You happy with the hair? Let's go. Yeah. Here he is now, Thomas Frank.
Now I feel, Dave, that judging Thomas Frank's hair from this photo is unfair because it looks like there's been the conditions haven't been right for that type of hair.
It's not a fair hair comparison. Is that
no? It's not done. It's not done like Silva was just having his picture taken, wasn't he, for the Premier League photos? Obviously,
yeah. But old Tommy here looks like he's sporting a '90s curtains thing going on here. Do you know what I mean? I had one of them in the '90s, and I think that's not his best hair day. That's not his best hair day.
Definitely not.
No. So at the end of the day, at Brentford, he has got a record of 1.51 points per matches. How much was Ange again? 1.5.
1.59.
Oh dear, he's got a bigger. Oh dearie me. And then, but he was the assistant manager to Dean Smith for 94 games. Oh, that doesn't count. And then he's managed the Denmark under 16, under 17s, and under 19s.
Brøndby, hasn't he?
So maybe we will get. Hang on a second. He's a Doctor Who lookalike. What, David Tennant? Yeah, a little bit. That's a good shout out. That. And so, therefore, at the end of the day, what do I think about him? I think that he is a manager who's, he's taken Brentford up into the Premier League, which I think is a tick. He has dealt with players leaving there, left, right, and centre to absolutely adapt and do that. People say sometimes the style of football is a bit boring. And I was very surprised about how meek they were when we played them away earlier in the season, considering we were really poor at the time.
Yeah.
I did see. I'm a sucker for a good speech, as you know, Gibbo. I did like his speech in the canteen when he brought everyone together, the staff, the players, and everything like that. I like a bit of unity, Gibbo. I like a bit of unity.
Well, you need that unity, Dave.
Well, you do need unity, and I thought that absolutely correct, Kevin. He has got Ian Walker hair, and I'm sorry to say this, Kevin. I hated Ian Walker.
As long as he's not laughing when we let goals in.
Yeah, that's right. So and we've got again Thomas Frank, bit on the pragmatic side for Tottenham. It's not like we're playing massively free-flowing football at the moment, to be honest. But once
again, I think what you find with Frank is that he adapts, doesn't he? I think he plays different ways for different teams, and he plays different away from home than he does at home. Now, there's nothing wrong with being pragmatic in the point where you need to be pragmatic. But once again, I'll say about when I watch Brentford, when they're at it and they're playing certain games, they play good football as well, don't they? They can sort of defend, they can play football, they mix it up a bit. And we just probably sound like a broken record, but that's the type of thing we need, mate. That is what we are lacking at the minute, isn't it?
I liked your Aussie mate. You did put a little Aussie mate at the end of the sentence there, Gibbo. I saw that. But there we go.
I think a lot of Spurs fans will turn their nose. I think a lot of Spurs fans will turn their noses up. We'll come on to other managers that I think now they'll champion. But I just think we're at the point where these guys mid-table may be higher with not. I suppose you've got to say bigger club, haven't you? Without being, if any of these coaches that we're sort of going to talk about tonight coming to Spurs is coming to a bigger club, isn't it? You should have better resources. Maybe not so much better recruitment, but we should have better resources.
Well, hopefully we get the Argentinian medical squad into the club. That's what I'm looking forward to. Because they are indeed the best medical staff in the world. Did you know that?
Well, mate, we can't really. We're gonna get into that.
No, of course not. We're having a week
off.
Hello, Richo. Yeah. Hello, Richo. Richo, welcome, Everton fan of this channel, and we thank you for that. I gotta be honest, I've never seen an Everton YouTube channel in my life. Sorry about that. I'm sure there's lots of good ones out there.
I'm sure Richo can. Obviously,
Richo can point us away.
Yeah.
I mean, if Richo is saying that the best YouTube channel is us over an Everton YouTube channel, I mean that could be the biggest compliment we're ever going to get for doing this, Gibbo. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Right. So, Thomas Frank, are you a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Well, before I give you my thumbs up or thumbs down, Dave, you know what? I'm giving the thumbs up.
Are you?
So, yeah, and I'm not saying Thomas Frank is my first choice.
No.
I'm not saying I've got a feeling it will be him.
You think it's going to be him?
Yeah, and I'm not so saying sure. I'm not saying.
I'm not so sure it is going to be him. Okay.
Oh, Langer, same nationality, ain't they? You know.
What? So only Danish people will employ other Danish people.
Yeah, just like Mun wanted Ange.
Oh, hang on. There's an anti-Dane into the Stuart is saying, we'll get onto him in a minute, Stuart. Don't you worry. Thomas Frank is boring. Look at that haircut, Stuart. That's not a boring haircut. Come on. Look at that. He's looking good. But okay, so I think we're saying, if you want to know where I am on this, if I'm like a thumbs, hang on, like that for Silva, not sure.
Yeah.
More thumbs up
on
Thomas, but I'm not a full thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
You know what I mean?
Mate, and just for just to clarify, mate, I don't think that they'll have him. It'll be him just because Langer and him are the same nationality. I was taking the piss.
You've now upset millions of Danes who watch this show around the world. Thanks for that. We've just lost our Danish. Oh, hang on. We've got a trigger hang on, we've got a trigger warning. Oh, trigger warning. Daniel. No, if Daniel's watching this, the Frank deal is now off.
Is he linked to that base company, Dave? Don't we get all of our players and everybody from that base?
Allegedly, I can't comment on that. Allegedly. Right, let's move on to the next one. I hope. Here he is.
Oh, here we are.
Here he is. Here we go. I'll just put him up. It's
the
Stuart.
Hipster choice.
Here we go. Here we go. He is the hip new record. He's the hip new artist. He is
Shaking Stevens of the early 80s.
If that's your definition of hip, then that's up to you, my friend. That certainly wasn't my definition of hip, even at that time. Thank you very much. I would say he would be the Adam and the Ants of the early 80s. There we go. He is the fashionable, sexy new thing. He is the accoutrement that we need to have at this club. And obviously, let's look at his points per matches, and he's at 1.49 at Bournemouth. And remind me, Gibbo, what's Ange at?
1.59.
1.59. There we go. Look, everyone is he's getting excited.
We knew this would happen, didn't we, Dave?
It's the Emperor's new clothes. It's what did he do at Rayo Vallecano? Pronounced badly. 1.46. And he was at AEK Lamaka. He was at 1.62. I bet you Ange got more points in the Greek league than him. I'm presuming AEK might be Cypriot. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sounding like bloody Nigel Farage, which I'm not, to be clear.
Oh, and the thing is, Dave, with this guy, I've got a feeling that Bournemouth are trying to negotiate a new contract with him. So his release clause may be relatively low.
Oh, that's Daniel likes to hear those words.
Yeah,
Daniel, it's like what's that book where everyone read about that cut? 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, Daniel's equivalent of 50 Shades of Grey are one of two things. One, there's no release clause. Oh, actually, there's three. One, there's no release clause. Two, he's out of contract or in his last year of contract as a player. Or three, oh bollocks, I've forgotten the other. They're in financial difficulty. There you go. Thank you very much. You've saved me there. They are in financial. They've got FP. What the hell is it? The PSR. PSR. That's why I'm not as sharp this morning. Because I haven't had a coffee. I've had a strawberry milkshake, like Bod, my favourite TV character. They're in PSR issues. So Bournemouth got to renegotiate. Is that release clause low? Oh, Daniel's frothing away somewhere in his Hertfordshire estate. He will be travelling. Daniel will be travelling tonight on a plane to Bournemouth. He's travelling. He's travelling on a plane to Bournemouth because we are. Don't forget, on the Race to Zero, we are the first Premier League club to sign up to the Race to Zero, the United Nations Race to Zero. So you are metaphorically only, before we be accused of being sexist old goats. You're at the your local church disco when you're in your teenage years, or the local village hall disco, and the prettiest girl in the village is there, and all the girls want to chat. All the girls, that's fine. All the boys want to chat her up and him up. Oh, I'm getting this all. Where are you going with this, Dave? Sort your head out. This analogy has gone terribly wrong, and I could get cancelled by the Guardian Wokarati at the same time. Look. is he the prettiest person in the prettiest girl on the dance floor at the local disco? Is what I've been trying to say for 5 minutes.
Well, at the minute he is, isn't he, Dave? He is at the minute. You know, plays good football. Came in the same time as Ange.
Yes.
Slow burner, but they're flying now.
He's a slow burner.
Well, he wasn't he? They struggled. They Ange had the flying start, and it's gone tips up since then. Whereas Iraola was a little bit of a slower burn.
Slow burn.
Then now they're flying. They haven't last 5 or 6 games. They haven't been as good, have they? But
drop off.
For Bournemouth, I mean, he's obviously their recruitment's been very good. But he does the sort of things that we want, that fans want to see, doesn't he? And like you said, the media love Bournemouth at the moment.
They do.
Fans love watching Bournemouth at the minute.
Harry Redknapp loves Bournemouth because he lives in the sandbanks.
Like Stuart said, big Pochness about him, and I think that's
I'll bring up Stuart.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people see.
Didn't we say that Ange had Pochness about him as well?
I can't remember that. Maybe, probably, didn't we? Everybody who we sort of take a shine to has got Pochness, hasn't he?
So that means he'll get us to a cup final and play Sonny at left wing back. Is that what we're saying? Is that
semi-final? He did that in the semi-final.
Is that the definition of Pochness?
No, I think the definition of Pochness is just that people wanting to feel like everything's going in the right direction, and that we
got that with. Hang on a second, we had that with the avuncular Australian who started at
for 10 games.
We had the fans. Hang on, we had the fans forum.
Yeah,
we had feel good factor. What's wrong? We had the feel good factor. Now I'll tell you something that disturbed me about this candidate is the fact that he was 2-0 up away at Tottenham, who are crap.
Yeah.
And they got it back to 2-2. That's not very good.
But he did have Kepa in goal, didn't he?
Yeah, but I forgot that Kepa was in goal for them.
He had Kepa in goal.
To be honest, I completely forgotten about the League Cup penalty.
He somehow managed to lose Sar's cross mid-air, didn't he?
That was not a cross. That was a delicate chip.
And then
that was like Steve Carr against Man United by Sar. What are you about?
Just lit that penalty. You could see that coming from a mile away, couldn't you? But yeah, he did. I mean, recent results haven't been what their results were before. But look, everybody, when you watch Bournemouth, you're thinking at the minute, we fancy a bit of that.
Okay. And the hair, we haven't talked about the hair yet.
Yeah, it looks good on that. It looks good on there, Dave. I mean, but is it as trim as Silva? Silva's in the lead at the minute on that score.
Yeah, but will it look as good with a blue and white backdrop? Not sure. The red backdrop, it works. Obviously, we don't like the colour red for obvious reasons.
Obviously, when he first comes to us and he has his press conferences and all that, he'll have his barnet trimmed, won't he? So we can judge it better then. Okay,
all right. So we're joined by King Hoddle, who has got he's already picked his 11 for the Frankfurt game. So we will star that comment and we will get back to it shortly, King. Okay, but good evening and thank you for joining us. We're doing the managerial runners and riders, and as I know, you've missed the start of the show. We did cover off Coronation Street Love Triangle. You've missed that bit, and we've also missed an extremely poorly executed analogy about the best-looking girl at the local disco, which is what this manager is as well.
Luckily, you can rewind. You can go back.
You can go back. You can go back.
Dave, Iraola then, because
for me,
you haven't said a lot. I'm giving him. So I've given every single coach we brought up. I'm giving.
I know that you are the anyone but Ange.
I am. That's where I am at the minute.
Well, I know you are. That was obvious from day dot.
Do you know why I am? Because at one point, Dave, I was Ange out, and I was thinking, just.
Are you changed for Ange?
But shall I tell you what really done it for me? And I don't know if you've ever been in this scenario before.
Go on.
I can never stand people on Twitter who are just really toxic about players in the club and all that all the time, no matter what. You know, I have my opinions and I'm quite strong with them. But, you know, if something happens or something gets proved wrong or like, you know, a player starts playing better or whatever I've never rated, I'll say, oh, fair play. You know, he's proved me wrong. But a massive chunk of the Ange in-lot are insufferable, aren't they? That they are like the toxic positivity from there. Really, really got my back up, and I just and I found myself going, I can't fucking be.
You're not referring to certain other podcast?
No. Just in general, I've just found them as I find the far, you know, the ones who are really vile about players and managers and that the positivity towards him, even when you're getting smashed every week. I'm just like, oh God.
My favourite is, and I won't say who it is a particular prominent YouTuber who was very snobby about when we hired him. And then at the end of the first season said, oh, you know, we've got to back him in the summer. There's something about him. And now he's turned around again and go, I never wanted him in the first place. Whatever. Listen, admit you're wrong. I said I wanted Raya and not Vicario. And for the first 6 months, I had to eat humble pie. Then I said I was right, and now I've changed my mind again. I think Vicario's looked really good since he's come back.
And yes,
you've got to own.
You got to own it, mate.
You got to own it. You've got to own it. We've got to own it. And can we go back 64 years? Yes, I'd love to do that, but we can't. I'm sorry. So we don't have a time traveling machine. So on this one, I am because I'm as you know, I am a
contrarian.
I'm a contrarian. You know I'm a contrarian. And losing a 2-goal lead against a crap team is a big black mark for me, I'm afraid. So, and, you know, everyone's gone on about he's had 10 injuries, blah, blah, blah. But he hasn't played as many games. The expectations levels is low. So I'm reserving my judgment because we want to get to the end of this and then we'll decide who we want. So I'm still, this is me thinking about it. Okay. Yeah. I know it's hard to think I am thinking about something, but I'm just thinking about it. Okay. Yeah. So next up is who we got next? Here he is. Terzic. Right. So first of all, his rating points per match is 1.93 at Dortmund.
Yeah.
He was a technical director, and he looks like he's a technical director who's never worn a polo neck. Tick for me. He had a first spell at Dortmund for a little bit where he was 2. He's been a caretaker manager.
Yeah.
Very important. He was the assistant manager to Bilic, I think, at West Ham.
Yes, he was.
And they didn't do too well. He was at Besiktas as well. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. So we are looking at him. I was listening to Spaces the other week, and there was a guy on there who was talking very passionate about him, how he is a very good coach, really good with younger players, really develops them. He took them to a Champions League final. He lost the Bundesliga on the last day of the season, I think, to Bayern. Yeah. Obviously, the season before Kane
they lost to somebody really crap, didn't they, on the last day?
I think he may have won a German Cup, I think. I am a bit like, you know, that the popular choice is Iraola, whatever his bloody name is.
Yeah, Iraola.
Okay. To me, he's the US sitcom Friends. But every time that Friends was on a Friday night, I went upstairs and watched Shooting Stars with Vic and Bob and loved that. He's my Vic and Bob person. A little bit left to centre. I quite like him. Now, our good friend, Flat Cap, Jack, on the Irish Hotspurs channel, thinks he'd play. They both think he plays boring football. He was a Dortmund ultra. That's fine by me. I don't care about that. So he should be used to the yellow wall, which, of course, is what Daniel designed the South Stand to be, the yellow wall.
Mm.
And also to be a great stage for Guns N' Roses when they hit the town. So I quite like him. I'm a bit, you know, it's like we're at the village disco. All eyes are fixated on the prettiest girl there, but there's a kind of more ethereal, mysterious girl in the corner who is requested for the Velvet Underground to be put on, and that's where I'm looking.
That's
So
where we'll leave it.
I'm quite giddy on this one.
Oh,
I'm quite giddy. If he brings in his own staff,
yes.
That's another trigger word for Daniel.
That has got to be a must for any coach coming in, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Anyone.
If we're really if we're gonna do it again, if we're gonna get rid.
Well, we are going to do it again. Yes.
Do we really have to have Mason about? You know,
and
he's been
Dixon.
there under various managers. Yeah, just with Terzic, Dave. I don't really watch a lot of European football.
I watch loads. I watch loads, Gibbo.
I can imagine you do.
There's nothing I do more on a Sunday morning than get my Bratwurst out and watch some German football.
But he obviously did. He did well to get Dortmund to the Champions League final. They obviously weren't one of the more fancied teams.
No.
But like I said, so it's hard to judge. But when the things you say are the type of things that when I hear them, I'm thinking, well, that's what we need. And now I've always said, maybe not as much recently, I've always over the years, from what I can make out, I've always said, like, why don't Spurs should go down the Dortmund route? Like when you see the sort of successes that Dortmund
we've got
the
Daniel started that with the yellow wall. He started that already.
Like Klopp, they did what they did. They bought players like Bellingham and then they sold them for big money, and they've done that with various players.
Yeah.
So it's just like I've always seen us like that club. So
hang on a minute. That's a bit cynical, King, isn't it? Everyone does relatively well at Dortmund, don't they?
I think they had a period. They've had some periods where they haven't done very well, a bit like us now at the moment.
It's a very long period for us, but anyway.
But it's a tough gig there, isn't it? As it would be here, who you're up against.
And the hair. Where do you stand on the hair, Gibbo?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he looks after it, doesn't it?
Can I tell you something? You know who I think? You know, I think he looks a bit like.
Go on.
He looks a bit like Luke Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like Luke Young, and I was very pissed off when we sold him that summer. I mean, that was a summer that the latest episode of the Overreach is featuring.
He was just very much.
I liked him
of where we were then.
No, I don't agree. I thought he was a good player. I was annoyed that we sold him, and then Carr got that big injury first game of the season. He could have played right back or right wing back. It's unfortunate. So I quite like him. So shall we move on, because we are motoring a lot.
Have we got any more? Have we actually got any more?
Actually, I mean, we've got one more. Now, this is a left to centre choice, and I've got the track record up as well. So I think this is kind of to my point earlier. It doesn't matter who sits on that bench under the current owners. It makes no difference whatsoever. So I did go on some channel and said it's CP30 you could stick on the bench. So I'm going for Technotronic featuring Yarkid K. It's important that Levy does the deal and brings Yarkid K along with Technotronic.
Yeah.
And so if we score a goal, we can hear Pump Up the Jam every time we score a goal. And, if you remember the points per minute comparison, points per match comparison, you can see here Pump Up the Jam, it was in top 10 in 4 or 5 different countries. Okay. That's important to think about as well. And then we can see that Body and Body did less well. And their last album, Recall, got to number 153 in the Australian or Austrian chart. So I'm saying Technotronic featuring Yarkid K. Would they do a better job than Ange, Gibbo?
Oh, mate, probably. You know where I am with Ange now, don't you?
I mean, you're officially now saying that early 90s dance act Technotronic, don't forget, featuring Yarkid K, would do a better job than Ange. Yes or no?
I'm anyone in over Ange now, aren't I? Like Mark has put in the chat here, any new manager seems to face an uphill battle after the first season. Fans aren't very patient. I'd call since 1987.
Let's bring that up, shall we? Let's get rid of Technotronic.
Yeah.
I would prefer Technotronic to Marco Silva. I'm putting it out there. All right. So, Mark, good point here. an uphill battle. Well, first of all, Mark, it's a good point. But since only at the start of this season, for the first time in about 5 seasons, has a manager got a second season. Yeah. And then fans aren't very patient, or at least lose sight of a bigger picture quite quickly. I think we are, on the whole, a very patient fan base. Now, I know this show is called Grumpy Old Spurs, but we're grumpy, open brackets, patient, close brackets, right? We're patient. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, as a fan base,
what is the bigger picture?
What is the bigger picture?
What is the bigger picture then, Dave? So what is the bigger picture?
Well, with our game-changing stadium, we will be able to compete with the top-tier clubs. We will be able to buy better players, pay higher wages, compete for Champions League
higher transfer fees.
Yes, transfer fees and salary, don't forget. And we will do that because don't forget, every penny of revenue goes into that first team. Okay? Every penny. So, I think bigger picture and patience is an interesting point. As a supporter, and although I am getting older and less patient in my age, as my loved ones would testify, I would say this. What I would like to see on a year-on-year basis is improvement. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I would have liked to see this year is us do better in the league than we have done. I would like to have seen us improve the first team, ready to go first team than we had done in August. Okay. I would like us to win a trophy. I'm not holding out my hopes for the Europa. And that's what I would look for, and playing attractive football. I know that we are not going to be in the market for. I'd love us to get Osimhen this summer. Doubt we will.
Not happening.
I'd love us to get if Jude Bellingham, who apparently is a bit too big for his boots, according to someone else on this show, becomes available. If he says, I need to go back to London because I want to hang out in London's glittering West End, I'd love us to sign him, but we're not going to. So I think it's being realistic about that thing, right? So I do think we are patient. And in terms of the bigger picture, well, my bigger picture doesn't contain Enoch in it. What's your bigger picture, Gibbo?
Well, so when people talk about, so I'm looking at it that we finished 5th last year.
We did
5th, and then we're selling players, letting players go, not replacing them really adequately, or building the squad where we need to with the 2 games. So people are saying like bigger picture, and then it becomes, well, it's a rebuild. So I'm like, what are we rebuilding? We're 5th. We've got most of our players in this squad are new players. The rebuild is happening. It's evolution. It should be evolving. We're 5th. People actually bought that we need to go down the league and it's going to be rocky road. It's going to be a rocky road because it's a rebuild. Well, we're 5th because we had a great start to last season. And then we obviously had a few injuries towards the end of last season and our form tailed off. So we started off well, had some injuries and our form tailed off. This season, we started off pretty well, and then we had some injuries, and our season.
I thought we started off. To be honest, I didn't. I thought we started off very. I thought we started off pretty meh. I thought we were very meh to start this season.
At one point, can't you remember the people talking? We're only 5 points off 4th. We're only 6 points off 4th. Can't you remember those days at the start of the season?
We do that.
Can't you remember?
We do that every season. We do that. No, we lost, but we're only 3 points off 4th, and then each week goes by.
We were sort of at a point where you thought this can, this.
Yes,
we kick on from here, but we've never kicked on. So the bigger picture. So here we go. Building a squad around a select few experienced players and developing. Hey, as well as I do, we were 5th. We needed to push on, don't we? When you're 5th, you need to push on, don't you?
Yeah. Because we're playing more games this season.
The bigger picture is to push on, make the squad better with better players.
Yes.
Bring you from so it can be consistently evolve and you move on. I don't think I don't see it. And I think we were all, well, not all of us. I think we were all hoodwinked into like it's a rebuild, it's a
Hoodwinked.
project.
Are you saying that we've been sold a pup again?
No, I just think this talk of rebuild, like I said, when you're fifth, you don't talk about rebuilds when you're fifth. We're not coming down from top and we've got to fifth, and then you go, right, we need to rebuild this now. Like, say, Man City are. I'm looking at it thinking we've gone from seventh to fifth. Now we need to rebuild. Now we need to push on. And I don't think we bought the players to do that or built the squad to do that. And I certainly don't think I don't think the manager has done his part in making that happen.
Fair enough. Now, talking about being sold a pup, aren't we supposed to be having dog of the week? Or is that still to come? We don't just throw this show together, Kerry. I don't think there was a dog of the week for the AC Milan Tottenham charity game.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't see one. But if there is a dog of the week, maybe if people want to send in pictures of their dogs in Tottenham to us, they're more than happy to.
And we'll choose our dog of the week.
We can choose our dog of the week, no problem. How many dogs have you got? One or two?
I've got two.
You got two. Well, we can do that. That's a fortnight covered off straight away. Yeah. Well done, Gimmo.
And when Leon's on, obviously Leon's got a dog, hasn't he?
Leon's got a dog. He loves that dog, I tell you. And then if we can, Kings just had asked a question. I've started. We'll come back to it in a second.
I think King was saying his team for Frankfurt, wasn't he?
He was saying his team for Frankfurt. Here's a stat. After 29 games last season, we're on 56 points. After 29 games this season, Arsenal have only 2 more points than that, and they're second. So this league this season's been crap.
But they're second, aren't they? Do you know what?
He's got a point. He's got you there, Gibbo.
but they're second, aren't they? This season.
Yeah, but no,
you can only live in. You can only live in. You only live in the moment you play.
You're on the canvas. He's finishing you off. He's got you.
Has he? Because if you ask like Leon in that, me and Leon, like towards the end of last season, I started going, I'm not sure about this. I don't think he was found out after 10 games. I think he had those 10 games, and I think coaches started working out a little bit, and obviously, as they would with any team, when there's any new sort of like any team, whether it be Spurs or not, when that sort of happens, then coaches and players, they take more notice. But I just think over the period of time now, when you look at it, the first 10 games, he wasn't found out after the first 10 games, but slowly people have just worked out what Spurs are about, how to beat Spurs, and that's what happened. And we haven't really been able to consistently counteract that, have we?
No.
And that's my issue.
We're going to go shortly. There's a couple of housekeeping points here. Well, one is the normal. There's 3 housekeeping points. There's a normal one that you normally say, which is we'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, tell your mates, tell your family, just come on and give us a thumbs up and a view.
Say your mates, say your family.
I mean, we're not to everyone's taste. There is another channel where they see us grumpy old Spurs because we don't back the club, back the team, back everything. They'll slag us off as well, but we're not that big, so we'll be fine. And then to a couple other pieces.
We do back the team.
Well, apparently we have to back the team and not be moaning about anything. Am I frozen or are you frozen? No one's frozen. But yeah, but that's
you were freezing a bit.
Was I freezing? It must have been the strawberry milkshake. So out of all the choices that we've seen tonight, so let's go back through them. Yarkid K featuring Technotronic, Marco Silva, Thomas Franks, Iraola, whatever his bloody name is, Terzic. Who is it you want? Who do you want?
I mean, like I said to you, I've got a feeling it will be Frank. I've got a feeling that's who it will be. But you know what?
You've got a Frank feeling.
I like Marco Silva. I've got a Frank feeling, but I'm going to go a bit left field. I like a bit left field, not the band. I like Marco Silva, and I think we need somebody just to come in now and get us up to those European places. And when I'm talking European places, I'm talking Europa League to start off with. Get us back to finishing in those areas.
Yeah, I don't want to do.
And I think they're all capable of that. No, and I think they're all capable of getting us to that point, and then we will probably have to push on again from there.
Well, and then there's obviously
and whether they'd be the right coaches to do that.
Do you want Poch to come home?
At the minute, like you said, the current way I feel about it, I probably would, but I don't think it's.
Really? You want Poch to come home?
No. Like I said, Dave, I think my sort of heart would say yes, but I think my head sort of says no.
Well, I've decided, based on very little evidence whatsoever, which has never stopped me from giving an opinion ever before or going forward, I'm going Terzic.
Yeah.
on HG would be the best person to have on the show to give us an opinion on Terzic. Maybe what we'll do is we'll ask his opinion.
I don't think he's having Terzic.
He might bring Comrade Lane.
I don't think he's having Terzic.
Okay, Terzic and Burnett combo. There you go. Who's Burnett? I've no idea. Do you know?
But like I said, Dave, I think whoever comes in, I think Iraola be the one that most Spurs fans will be happy about because, like you said, he's sort of
shiny,
like the new shiny thing.
Pretty girl, boy.
And I'd be fine with that. But I think the rest of them, I think Spurs fans will turn their noses up and say they're not good enough for us when they're all probably going to finish above us in the league and have been playing better stuff than us.
I think I've just been told off there. I've been told off. Sorry about that. I'm sorry.
What you been told off for?
Because I didn't know who Burnett was, but he's the under-21 winning coach at our club. Sorry about that.
We don't care about stuff like that here, do we, Dave?
Yeah, I don't get watch Levy Vision. So a couple of things just to finish off. On the subject of Europa, Spurs' real chance in the Europa that we could rest and rotate between Europa ties. We'll see if the fans are patient if we tank every Premier game. Well, we are already. So
you can't be having that. You can't be. Yeah, like I said, I think we've got to. I would turn round and say, Ange, if you win the Europa League, but the form turns round in the league and we start playing good football, we start looking like a team, and you can see you cannot. I don't believe, and I might be proved wrong, but I don't think you can tank the league and then just go on to win the cup. I think you need to build them. I don't think you can turn it on and off. I think you've got to try and build some momentum and start playing some good football and get some confidence. Then, if a player does get injured, someone comes in to a team that's functioning well.
Yeah.
And playing well, full of confidence.
Okay, now we'll finish off. I mean, we don't have Frankfurt until April. I am flying out to Willy Brandt's Square to do a pre-show look at the Frankfurt squad. But King Hoddle wants Vic in goal. Yeah. Spence. Yep. VDV, Romero, Porro. You see, I'll tell you something. I'd play Gray at right back and Spence at left back. I wouldn't have Porro. I wouldn't have Destiny. Okay?
Well, I think if Porro's playing, Spence will play left back, won't he?
No, but what I'm saying is you play Gray at right back.
Yeah. And
not Porro.
And okay? Spence. Yeah.
Oh, hang on a minute. 1 second. We'll come back to your... Hang on a minute. Our number one fan has missed the show. Unbelievable.
Well, it happens, Dave. It happens. People can't just come in, have their tea, desperate to tune in at 7:00 on a Tuesday for grumpy old Spurs.
Phil, welcome, belated welcome. Anyway, I'm not giving another summary, and Elena's not been around either tonight. What's going on? Anyway, so let's go back to the team. Spence, I'd have Romero. What I would do with Romero is make him the team physio for the night, given he's such an expert on medicine. So I wouldn't have him in the team. I'd have who's fit. Oh no,
Dave, you got to play Romero.
I know we got to play Romero, but Atletico are in for him apparently.
Well, it'd be ideal for him, won't it? He
doesn't
want to play for us anymore.
It'd be good for him,
and also just our best player is going to leave
Romero. Well, he's not. He's not our best player.
He's one of our best players, Dave.
Okay,
and
we'll have to part.
He's not interested in hanging. Yeah, we would, but he's just
let's
not
part that.
Not interested in hanging around anymore, is he?
He's not been interested in hanging around. He's not interested in hanging around since he signed.
Yeah.
Right, in the midfield, Bergvall, obviously. If Cooley's fit, might be. Yeah, he will be fit, I hope.
Yeah.
Now, Bentancur. Oh, don't know.
Well, it basically, the midfield is all about the makeup, isn't it? And that's where I think it's the balance. That's why we're always making 2 subs at half time, 2 midfielders. It's right, though, isn't it?
The midfield is all about getting to half time
and then changing to.
Yeah.
So,
it's the best.
Bergvall's got to play.
No, Bergvall, absolutely. Yeah, damn right. And then
Kulusevski, if he's fit, has got to play.
Yeah, I don't want Maddison and Kulusevski in the middle. So I'll have Bergvall, Kulusevski, and unfortunately Bentancur, who's the best of a bad bunch, and I'd sell him in the summer, but we'll do that another time. Who else we got? Now, up top, I would have, and I know it's never going to happen, I'd have Tell,
Solanke, Odegaard.
And Odegaard. Yep.
I think that's the front 3 you'd go with because Son's going to play. Son's going to start in a game like that.
I know. We'll need him for his leadership skills to get us through.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, we could we do Maddison and then have all the leadership group on there, Dave? They've served us so well this season.
When we are away,
having all of them on the pitch.
When we're in the last 10 minutes, we've got to defend. When we're in the last 10 minutes, Frankfurt get a goal, and they only need one more.
Yeah.
And we've got backs to the wall. The Frankfurt crowd are waving their Bratwursts in our faces. The atmosphere is bad. Will our leadership group stand up once again?
What you want to see, Dave, is free kick in the last minute to win the game and put us through, and standing over the ball are 2 of our leadership group, Son and Maddison.
Yes.
Ready for a training ground set piece.
Yes. Yes. And then on the side of the pitch, Romero is talking to the Argentinian medical staff about medicine, because that's what he's interested in these days. So I think, King, that's a strong. I think that is as I said, I'd have Gray instead of Porro. Yeah. It's never going to happen.
Everybody's early season favourite Johnson isn't going to start, is he?
Johnson mysteriously won't be there. A worse leadership group in North Korea. That's a bit harsh on North Korea, boom tish. And so there we go. So I think we can wrap this up. We have made content out of an international week. What are we going to be doing next week as our first ever themed show, Gibbo? What are we going to be doing?
Yeah. Well, me and you are both going to pick our worst Spurs 11s, aren't we? In true grumpy old stuff. So that's what we want people to come in. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it? We're like players that you've seen, and players. So it'll be mine, which I've seen, which will probably be from a later date than when you started watching.
Why'd you say that, Gibbo?
Because you're just a little bit older than me.
Am I just a little bit older?
But if people can next week join in and put in the comments, we're going to have 2 teams. And then we could, if we had the 2 teams, Dave, we could actually decide what and mix those teams up and pick the actual most dog shit team.
I think we would do that. That may have to be a part 2. We're probably going to have to do 2 shows on that, right? Because we will be. So next week, there's. Well, that is a bit harsh, King Hoddle. There's 10,000 to choose from. Okay, so we are going from. So I started in 1977. I know my looks don't look like I started in 1977, but thank you, everybody. And Gibbo, he is coming in from 1987. Welcome, Destiny. First time here. We hope to see you again. But thank you for sampling our grumpiness. So next week, what we're going to do, we're going to try and do it in the traditional 4-4-2 formation with a bit of tweaking. You are going to pick the worst team you have to have seen them play. And I will pick the worst I would have to see them play. And there may be some controversy. Any fans of Eric Coco Lamella may not want to tune in next week. Just saying. And
can he play in a 4-4-2?
Can he? But and also, and the other thing, and one last thing, you got to have your worst manager. Well, that's obvious for you.
Oh, yeah.
It begins with A and ends in Ange Postecoglou. But anyway, you've got to have your worst.
He's right up there.
Manager. You have your worst manager and your worst owner. Okay, worst manager and worst club owner. Okay.
So let's wrap this up though, Dave, because you've got to go to work, haven't you? We've got everybody's joined late, so they're probably catching up now, mate. So unfortunately for you, you're going to work, and I'm finally going to start watching Breaking Bad. So, Dave, as per usual, mate, all we can say is, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.